chapter 9, I think. You got a remote. Yeah, I don't know what that'll do. I don't want to push it. Don't push your luck, buddy. Okay. I'm on chapter 9, and that is entitled, that's after chapter 8. Mrs. McCradle's Thank You. We just finished that one. I'm assuming since I'm in chapter 9 now. Okay. So, sorry for the noise. It's chilly in here. Turn that off. Maybe. It won't last long. Okay. The Cobra Club strikes. The last days of school dragged to an end. Like everyone else, John was impatient for summer. But unlike his classmates and friends, John was not excited about the bicycle contest and race. Each day after school, the streets of Centerville were crowded with bicycles, big bicycles, little bikes, 10-speed, dirt bikes. Every eligible girl and boy was practicing safety rules or getting in shape for the race or fixing a bike up for the best-looking contest. Every bike in town was being ridden, every bike except the Spirit Flyer. John stopped riding the Spirit Flyer 4 days after the night he told his aunt and uncle it could fly. He tried several times to make the old red bike fly, but each time he failed. And each time he failed, he became more discouraged. He gave up all hope that the Spirit Flyer would fly again. The worst thing was that his uncle would never believe his stories about it. Uncle Bill remained strangely silent about the Spirit Flyer after that night. He never talked about the bike. He acted normal, though John got the feeling that he was trying to act normal. At night, more than once, John overheard his aunt and uncle whispering. His uncle sounded upset. One time his uncle said, "It's over. We don't have to worry. It's over." John figured it was over too, that the Spirit Flyer would never fly again. He began wondering if it had ever really flown. In his heart, he knew that it had. Yet why did it stop flying, especially when he needed to prove his story to Uncle Bill? John felt betrayed. John seriously reconsidered Horace Grimsby's offer to buy the Spirit Flyer. He didn't like the Goliath Cobra, but it was a 10-speed, and $1,000 was a mountain of money. John figured he could sell the Goliath Cobra and have even more money. He could buy the kind of bike he wanted, maybe one just like his old 10-speed. If I sold the Spirit Flyer today, John thought, I'd still have time to practice for the race. I could even enter the best-looking bike contest. John visited all the stores that sold bikes. He looked carefully at each model and each brand. He sat on the ones he liked. John checked and compared prices. He thought of what he could buy with the leftover money. As the day of the race and contest came closer, John felt he should sell the Spirit Flyer and forget it. What was so special about a fat, ugly old bike? It didn't fly anywhere. I might as well sell it, John thought. But John couldn't bring himself to do it. Although he was angry at the old bike, deep inside he didn't want to get rid of it. In his heart, he hoped the Spirit Flyer would fly again. Finally, the last day of school arrived. After the awards assembly and the class parties that Thursday morning, all the students cheered at the final bell. And after the school, most children went to parties at their friends' houses. To celebrate the beginning of summer vacation, Barry Smedlow called a special meeting of the Cobra Club. For regular meetings, the boys met at Barry's house, but for secret Cobra Strike meetings, the club met in an old abandoned shed behind the hardware store. But that day they were meeting secretly in the shed. Barry closed the door and got right down to business. "We all know the trouble that John Kramer has caused us in the past, calling us names and making fun of us," Barry said. "I say we carry out a Cobra Strike against the enemy of the club. This enemy of the club." The other boys laughed and nodded. A Cobra Strike was their term for revenge or some other secret action that might get them in trouble. "I tell you, John Kramer's planning something sneaky," Barry said. "I've been noticing that he isn't practicing on that old dump heap bicycle. He must have some secret plan to win the race tomorrow. Maybe he's practicing so we don't see him." "I say we fix it so he doesn't enter the race." "How?" Doug Barnes asked. He was usually afraid of Barry's ideas for Cobra Strikes. He thought Barry went too far, like the time they spray painted bad words on the school cafeteria walls. Doug knew he couldn't quit the Cobra Club. The punishment was terrible. It was part of the rules. No one had ever quit. "I have a plan," Barry said, then laughed his horrible laugh. Near the corner of Main Street and Elm, there's a big hole in the road where they've been fixing the sewer. The flood messed it up. My plan is that John Kramer has a little accident, and maybe he'll fall into that hole when he has his accident." "Are you crazy?" Doug asked. "That hole's 6 foot deep and full of water. How he could drown." "Who's president here?" Barry asked, looking coldly at Doug. "You want to quit, chicken?" "No," Doug said. "It's just that." "Don't be a scaredy cat," Barry said. "He won't drown. Besides, it won't be our fault. Listen, this is what we'll do." Barry began to whisper. The other boys smiled as the bigger boy told them his plan. Then they rushed out of the abandoned shed, ready for action. John was staring out the window, thinking about the Spirit Flyer in the next day's race, when he saw Susan run across the yard, her hair and clothes soaking wet. At first, John wanted to laugh, but then he saw that she was crying. John met her at the door. Her eyes were very red. What happened? John asked. I was coming home from Barbara's and they attacked me, Susan blurted out. Who? I don't know, Susan said. All of a sudden, the water balloon hit me in the face. Someone yelled something like, strike. Then I could barely move. They threw so many balloons, and they had something in them that stings your eyes like soap. It really hurts. Where were they? John asked. Down by Main Street in Elm. I better change. I'm dripping all over the rug. John felt a surge of anger, like a warm fire began in his stomach. Then it spread up through his shoulders and arms, and finally into his hands, which became fists. He knew it was his Cobra Club the instant Susan said the word strike. Attacking someone who wasn't looking sounded just like them, especially Barry Smedlow. John ran to the garage. He jerked open the door, then hopped on the Spirit Flyer as he pushed it down the driveway. He didn't care whether it flew or not. It wasn't far to Elm and Maine. He wanted to get there before the Cobra Club got away. Little did he realize that they were waiting, especially for him. John was pedaling so furiously that he didn't even see Roger pedal around the corner. Roger followed, sensing that something was wrong, but John didn't notice. Just don't film me now, John whispered to the old red bike as he raced along the street. I'm sorry I was mad at you. I don't really care if you don't fly, and I don't understand. Just get me there without falling apart. John rounded the corner and saw him. Down at the end of the street, Barry Smedlow sat on his bicycle. He had something in his hands, but John couldn't see it clearly. He assumed it was water balloons. What John couldn't see was the large hole right in front of Barry. Here he comes, Barry said. The Cobra Club had removed the yellow light and a sign that said, keep away. The other boys were hiding behind parked cars, their hands full of water balloons with dishwashing detergent inside. When I say strike, let him have it. John pedaled faster when he saw Barry. Roger, using the lower gears in his 10-speed, gained on his best friend. Roger knew something was wrong, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Then he remembered the hole. Surely he will see the hole, Roger thought. At that moment, an old pickup truck rounded the corner and accelerated down Elm Street. John didn't notice the truck, but looked straight at Barry. The president of the Cobra Club laughed and raised his right arm. Strike, Barry yelled, throwing the balloon. At that instant, John noticed a huge hole right in front of him. John stomped back on the brake and jerked to the left, trying to avoid the hole. When 6 water balloons hit him, 4 got him in the head, 2 in the chest. The detergent stung his eyes. John hit the brake harder because he couldn't see where he was going. He thought he was going to miss the hole. But what he couldn't see was the pickup truck coming from the opposite direction. Roger screamed. Barry's face turned pale. He hadn't want to hurt John badly. Old man Turner wasn't paying attention as he drove along. Then suddenly he saw a boy on a bicycle right in front of the truck. He hit the brake and horn, knowing it was too late. John opened his eyes just a track and glimpsed the shiny chrome fender of the pickup. The horn blurred at him. He knew he was going to crash. Then suddenly he was lifted up higher and higher. He was sailing through the air. He saw the roof, then the back of the pickup truck below him. John continued beyond the truck a few feet. Then the Spirit Flyer landed gently back on the street and stopped. John was wiping his eyes, trying to get the burning soap out, when Mr. Roger and Mr. Turner ran up to him. Are you all right? Roger asked. What happened? What happened? John rubbed his eyes with his shirt sleeve once more. His hair and clothes were soaked and beginning to feel cold. Water dripped off his chin and elbows onto the street. I'm okay, John said. Are you sure I didn't hear you hit my truck? Mr. Turner said, but you must have hit it. All of a sudden you was shooting up over the cab. That's all I saw. You must have a lot of luck, boy. You sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I just don't think it was luck. But I don't think it was luck, John said quietly, realizing that once again the Spirit Flyer had saved his life. He didn't even touch the truck, Doug Barnes screamed from across the road. All the Cobra Club members stood in a circle. Barry Smedlow looked as if he had seen a ghost. I saw it too, Jimmy Roundhouse, another club member said. It looked like it jumped right over the whole thing. It never touched nothing. Why are you all wet, boy? Old Mr. Turner asked John. There's not a cloud in the sky. John turned to point at the Cobra Club, but they all jumped on their bicycles and were pedaling away as fast as they could go. John grunted, seeing the troublemakers were running away. How did you do it? Roger asked. I couldn't see whether you hit or not. What happened? John looked at Roger and at the old man. He wondered if he should tell them. He doubted that they would believe him. He had learned from Uncle Bill that people sometimes see only what they want to see. John knew the old red bike had flown over the truck. He knew it wasn't luck or an accident. I guess it flew over, John said. That's what everyone saw. My eyes were closed. I didn't see much. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen, exclaimed Mr. Turner, scratching his head. You see you boys later and watch out where you're going from now on. The old man got back into his pickup truck and drove away. John stared at the truck's skid marks. That hole's dangerous, Roger said. They meant for you to fall in it. They moved the sawhorses on purpose. We better put them back before someone else does fall in. Yeah, John agreed. He helped Roger move the sawhorses and signs back in front of the hole. John left wet footprints everywhere he walked. I still don't understand, Roger said, shaking his head. I just don't understand. Neither do I, said John truthfully. What had made the Spirit Flyer fly again, he wondered. Would it fly if he tried to make it fly? I've got to go home and change my clothes, John said. Maybe we can practice for the race later. I've got to buy some stuff for my mom, Roger said. I was supposed to be home already. I saw you going by and tried to catch up. Thanks, John said, watching a watching a puddle form around his tennis shoes. Maybe I'll see you later. Maybe I'll see you later. John hopped on the Spirit Flyer. Roger waved and rode off towards Main Street. John pedaled slowly down Elm Street, wondering if Barry or any Cobra Club members were hiding nearby. He didn't think they would attack again, but he wasn't sure. As he rode home, he looked at each parked car carefully, almost expecting someone to jump out with a water balloon. John didn't know it, but the Cobra Club was in its secret clubhouse, arguing about how a bicycle could fly over a truck. Another person was arguing too. Inside the black truck marked Goliath Toys, Horace Grimsby was complaining on the glowing red telephone. I realized very well the bicycle was out instruments, Grimsby said. It's not like I died yesterday, but not like I died yesterday. But I tell you, I need help. I just saw the bike and boy fly over a moving truck. That stupid idiot couldn't see a thing. His eyes were full of soap. Haha, my idea. I'm working with a boy here, a real candidate, sir. He has a club of little cobras. They even call themselves the Cobra Club. I thought you'd like the name. I suggested the ambush to the boy who suggested it to the club. The Kramer boy was bombed with balloons. I had it planned perfectly right down to the exact instant the truck turned the corner. He didn't have time to move the handlebars. I say he has a strong cloud around him. He's being protected more than we thought. I need help. Grimsby listened for a moment. He frowned. He shook his head, not speaking. Yes, I realize the instruments aren't attached, Grimsby said. I know that's in our favor, but... Grimsby listened again. He continued frowning. If you say so, sir, of course you always have that option. I was hoping it would be easier. I will keep you informed. I have plans to use a Cobra Club boy tonight. Shall I proceed? Maybe we can finish this and leave this ugly little town. Grimsby listened a while longer, then hung up. The phone stopped glowing. Grimsby watched John riding down the street. That brat is ruining everything, he thought. Then John was out of sight. Just you wait, young man. The truck was nothing. Just you wait. And here's a artist rendition. There's Mr. Grimsby on the phone with the glowing red phone and the little demonic man that he is. Okay, let's see what we got here. Right, that was chapter 9. And Lord, there's probably nobody on except for Zeptin Kaboom, maybe. Not even Zeptin Kaboom. 0. Well, hallelujah. I'll just praise the Lord anyway. Even though nobody cares, nobody's on. Nobody bothered to listen to. Go to sleep, listen to this every night. So see you. Good night, my show. Send me an email sometime, buddy.